Pakistan is outrageous. That's what we'll talk about in today's Lunch Alert video. Dr. Shakil Afridi is the brave doctor in Pakistan who helped us find Osama bin Laden. He had a clinic right near bin Laden's house, and he was aware of what's going on in the community, as undoubtedly the Paki authorities were, and he led us to give us information that was crucial to our finding and killing bin Laden. So the Pakistani court sentenced him to 33 years in jail. Now, when the United States Senate cut their aid by a nominal 33 million, symbolic of the sentence, and American media began to go crazy about it, the Pakistanis all of a sudden said, "Oh, no, we didn't sentence him for helping you find bin Laden. We sentenced him because he had ties to a terrorist group and had given them money." Well, it turns out the group that they claimed he gave money to and had ties to said, "We don't know the guy." In fact, they said it very picturesque language. They said, "If we ever met such an evil person, we'd chew him alive." They mean it. And the group that he in fact did give money to was a group that is not terrorist and not affiliated with the group they charged. And the money was a fine that they imposed on him for overbilling some of his patients or something like that. And he got 33 years in prison. So what's the United States to do about this? In Screwed, we talk at length about the U.S.-Pakistani relationship and what to do about it. We've given these people $6 billion of aid this year, and a total of $20 billion since 2001, and a total of $40 billion since the 60s. Suspensions of aid or cutoffs of aid are an incomplete answer. Yeah, we have to cut our aid to them and make them feel the pain from this. We fund half their military budget and their entire intelligence agency budget. And Admiral McMullen, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, says that that's Admiral Mullen, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, says that the aid we give to the intelligence agency is often directly shipped to terrorist groups that use the money to fund attacks on our soldiers. So it's coming right back to us. And obviously we can't let that situation continue. But what we need to do is something proactive and aggressive to make sure that Pakistan begins to behave itself. And that is cultivate our ties to India. That's what we call for in Screwed. Remember when Nixon was stymied by Russia and the Cold War was deadlocked? He decided the way to get Russia was to go on an end run around them and go to China and build a relationship with China. And then Russia's fear of China, which was even more significant than their fear of us, would lead them to cooperate with us and behave themselves because they'd be afraid of a US-Chinese alliance. That is precisely what we can do with Pakistan. The United States is a sideshow to Pakistan. So are the terrorists. The main event is fighting India. These countries used to be one under the British rule. And then when they got their independence, Britain partitioned them, sending the Muslims to Pakistan and the Hindus to India. And there's massive emigration of people back and forth, and tens of millions of people died in that. And there were riots and demonstrations and everything, and eventually they became two separate countries. And the reason Pakistan is such a terrible Muslim fanatical country is that they were founded as a Muslim state. They are as much a Muslim state as Israel is a Jewish state. And therefore the militancy and all that comes very naturally to them. But they fought 3 wars with India and have lost all 3. They used to own Bangladesh, and they called it East Pakistan on the other side of India, and the Indians conquered it. And they're still fighting over Kashmir in the middle. If the United States drew close to India and said, if you put this guy on trial, you sentence this guy to jail, send a trade mission over to India and conclude a treaty for military aid to India. Instead of giving Pakistan $6 billion, divert $500 million of it and give it to India. The Pakistanis will flip out. They'll absolutely have a fit because they're scared to death of India. The only reason Pakistan developed nuclear weapons was because India had them, and they're scared of that. And the United States should play that rivalry and use force in getting the Pakistanis to be civilized and to cooperate in the war on terror, not just the carrot, not just the aid. Because they know when we cut off aid, we're going to cut it back again, turn it back on, because we need them in the fight against terrorism. But if we go to India and use that pressure, we can really affect what Pakistan does. We explain all this in Screwed, and really, please get a copy of it. Again, this is a very important part of Screwed. All of these, what we did in this book, it's kind of fun, is we have a table where we show how much each country gets in foreign aid and what percent of the time they vote against us in the United Nations. And we found that of the countries that get 500 million or more in foreign aid, which is about 60 of them, that they vote against us an average of 80% of the time. So why are we doing it? The liberals have always said that foreign aid is tiny. Well, it's not. It's 60 billion out of 3.7 trillion, but it's also 60 billion out of the 600 billion of discretionary non-defense spending. It's 10%. And you know, in the budget cuts that took place with the debt limit extension, it is the only spending category in the entire federal budget that increased. Everything else was cut back. Well, come on. Let's get real. Thanks a lot for watching.